Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be going over integrals for calculus review for Physics 1510. We'll start with the syntax or language of integration. This is how a regular integral looks. With integration, there are two types of integrals. Definite integrals, where we integrate from a to b, and indefinite integrals, where there are no bounds. This squiggly line is called the integrand. All it shows is that we're performing integration. A and b are called our lower and upper bounds, respectively. Remember, with indefinite integrals, we don't have these. The last part of an integral is the dx. The dx just shows that we're changing the function with respect to x. Remember, the d is really delta, or change. Now the difference with indefinite and definite integrals is when we integrate them. When we integrate a definite integral, we're integrating the function and plugging in b, subtracting the integrated function, plugging in a. With a indefinite integral, however, there are no bounds, so all we do is we take our integrated function and plug in, you guessed it, just the variable. The only difference here is that since we don't have any bounds, we don't have a starting point, so we need to add in a plus c, or an unknown constant, just to show that we're starting somewhere. That's about it for the syntax. Now, let's take a look at some rules for integration. We saw in the last video, for derivatives, that the most basic rule is the power rule. If we have a function y equals x to the n power, then for derivatives, we have two rules. The first rule is to multiply our entire function by that power, and the second rule is to subtract 1 from the power. For integrals, however, an integration is the inverse of derivation. So, not only do we need to reverse the steps, we need to reverse the order of the steps. Our first step, instead of subtracting 1 from the power, should be adding 1 to the power. And our second step should be dividing by that new power. Our basic function y equals x to the n should now be x to the n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. We can take an example over here from the last video, y equals 3x to the 7th, and integrate it. We'll integrate it with respect to the indefinite integration. The first thing to do is add 1 to the power, and then divide by that new power. 7 plus 1 is 8. This will give us 3 over 8 times x to the 8th power. Hello everyone. In this video, we'll be going over graphs of a function, its derivative, and its integral for calculus review for physics. Thank you for watching.